Everyone, this is Zach at FF Chupa Batman, and I am with the Fantasy and Frames team. This is your Beat the Waiver Wire show for week 3. So we are already getting you ready to pick up some players so you can beat your teammates to these players before you have to pay for them next week. So you need to pick these guys up before game time starts, get them in your bench, and hopefully they pop off for you while they're sitting there and you got them for free. So we're going to be doing this every weekend. So make sure you are subscribed to the Fantasy and Frames YouTube channel so you don't miss any show. All right, let's get to it. So these are all players that are rostered in under 50% of ESPN leagues. So we are repeating from last week at our quarterback position, Jameis Winston. So he only went up less than a 1% rostership percentage. So we're going to repeat him because he had a solid second half in week 1. We saw that he has great offensive weapons, especially with Michael Thomas looking pretty healthy. And his next 3 opponents after week 2 is at Carolina, versus Minnesota, and versus Seattle. They're decent defenses, nobody that scares you. And honestly, Minnesota could be a shootout game. So grab Jameis Winston now before he has a potential blow-up game, and then you got to pay for him. Stash him on your bench. At running back, we have Khalil Herbert. He is 28.5% rostered. He's going against Green Bay this week. Not a great matchup, but these guys aren't for you to play this week unless you're desperate. So last week in week 1, Montgomery had a 65.4% running back carry share, which sounds like a lot. And you're like, oh, why am I suggesting Herbert? Well, that's the lowest RB carry percentage he has had in 2 seasons. Last year, when Montgomery was a starter, he dominated the carries. Herbert barely touched the ball, except for when Montgomery was injured and Herbert was a starter. We now have a new coaching regime in Chicago, and it looks like they want to get Herbert the ball more. So the fact that Herbert was on the field that much in week 1 is a positive sign. He also had 2 goal line carries. Montgomery had 0. So not saying you should start Khalil Herbert this week. Pick him up now. Let's see if his usage goes up in week 2. And I expect his usage to continue to rise as the season goes on. And there's a potential for a 50-50 split in that backfield. So stash Herbert for free while you can. Moving over to wide receiver, Isaiah McKenzie, part of the Buffalo Bills. He's 15.1% rostered. He is a starting slot receiver for the Buffalo Bills. He only had 21 routes, only had 3 targets in week 1. Fortunately, he was able to get a touchdown. He also caused an interception. But what's interesting is this is recording on Saturday evening. Earlier this Saturday afternoon, we found out Gabe Davis popped up on the injury report. So we're not sure if he's going to be playing Monday or not. Now, this might help McKenzie this week. But honestly, I just expect his role to continue to grow as he gets more comfortable as the starting slot receiver. And he's attached to a dominant passing offense. So get him now while he's still free before you have to pay up. That is the whole point of beating the waiver wire. At tight end, we're talking Robert Tonyan. Did he have a great week 1? Nope. He's only 21.2% rostered. You typically don't stash tight ends, but depending on your league format, if you have the bench space, I think Tonyan is going to be a significant part of this offense for the simple fact that the wide receivers just do not look good enough, and Aaron Rodgers trusts Tonyan. So he led the Green Bay tight ends in week 1 with 19 routes ran and only 1 pass block on a passing snap. So he only was asked to block for 1 passing snap. So that's what you like to see with your fantasy tight ends. They don't block, they just run routes. 50% of his snaps for passing were he was lined up in the slot, 30% out wide, and 20 in line. So again, you like to see that from your fantasy tight end because that means that he has more opportunities to catch the ball downfield and not block. So if Tonyan getting a touchdown this week against a terrible Chicago defense, well, you might see his roster percentage go up. So go grab him now, stash him. If he has another bad week, just go ahead and drop him. And our bonus player this week is Donovan Peoples-Jones. Can you believe it? But he was the 4th highest target share for wide receiver in week 1 with 37% and 11 targets. He was second on the team for snap share with 82%, tied with Amari Cooper. And if you don't really remember who Donovan Peoples-Jones is, he is 6'2", and coming out of college, he had a 100th percentile burst score from Player Profiler. So he can run, and that's what you're looking for when you're trying to chase potential. So pick him up now. Let's see if his high target share continues in week 2. If it drops off and it was just a blip in week 1, just go ahead and drop him. You picked him up for free. But if he has another dominant target share game, you know he's going to be popular on the waiver wire. So go ahead and beat the waiver wire now while you can. So thank you for tuning in to Fantasy and Frames Beat the Waiver Wire for week 3. Make sure you catch our pregame show Sunday morning, and we have lots of great shows and articles all week. Those articles can be found at fantasyandframes.com. Have a great one.